Hey everyone, welcome back.
Hi.
Before we jump into today's deep dive, I want to take a moment to just thank Rosita Ivanova. She's the creator behind the website www.aura911.com.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's just such an amazing resource, I have
Yeah.
to say, for anyone who is, you know, interested in exploring these spiritual concepts.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really love about it is that it's available in so many languages.
Oh, wow.
You can actually translate any of the articles just by clicking on that little green globe icon that you'll find at the top of the page.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, major props to her for making this wisdom accessible to everyone.
Yeah, it's so important.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be diving into some of the teachings of Shaman Durek.
Okay.
We've got some articles from his website that we're going to be looking at. Plus, we're going to be drawing from one of his live healing sessions that's available online.
Wow.
And we're going to be exploring the concepts of spiritual wealth
Okay.
and raising your vibration.
Love that.
And I think you're going to find some surprising perspectives on sin.
Oh, interesting.
The power of asking spirit for demonstrations,
Mm-hmm.
and also how to recognize your own inherent worthiness.
Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's start with sin.
Okay.
Shaman Durek has a very unique take on sin.
Oh,
He doesn't see it as a list of don'ts,
right.
but rather something much deeper.
Okay.
He describes it as a denial of God's love for you, essentially dimming your own light.
That's deep.
Right.
Wow.
And he had this very powerful revelation at the Wailing Wall
Hmm.
that totally shifted his perspective on it. And I think it has the potential to really shift ours as well.
It's so true. I think it is refreshing to hear someone challenge those traditional interpretations of sin, which are often, very fear-based.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us have been conditioned to believe that we're inherently flawed
Right.
and unworthy.
Right.
So to have this perspective that really reframes that
Yes.
as like turning away from the inherent love and light within each of us.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Exactly. And it's that denial of love, that dimming of our light,
Yes.
that he sees as the real transgression.
Wow.
It makes you think about how societal or religious indoctrination can lead people to feel so disconnected from the divine
Right.
and unworthy of receiving love.
Oh, absolutely. And that feeling of unworthiness can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yes.
If we believe we are undeserving of love and abundance,
Right.
we may unconsciously sabotage our efforts to receive those things.
Absolutely.
But when we recognize our inherent worthiness, as creations of the divine,
Mm-hmm.
we open ourselves to a whole other level of spiritual growth and fulfillment.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of growth,
Okay.
Shaman Durek talks a lot about the power of asking spirit for demonstrations.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of this concept before?
I have. I'm curious to hear what he has to say about it.
Yeah, so essentially these are tangible signs or synchronicities
Okay.
that can strengthen our faith and help us overcome any limiting beliefs that we might have.
Yeah. So it's like, moving beyond just believing in a higher power, but actually actively seeking
Yeah.
evidence of its presence
Yes, exactly.
in our lives.
So he shares a story from his childhood, and he talks about how, he felt held down in bed by some unseen force,
Wow.
and he was really scared, and he called out to God for a sign. And guess what happened?
What happened?
He felt a wave of warmth
Wow.
and a sense of release.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And it's just such a powerful example of how, asking for that demonstration
Yeah.
can lead to that tangible experience
Oh, yeah.
of spiritual support.
Right.
And I think it's important to remember that these demonstrations can come in so many forms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They can be profound,
Yeah.
or they can be seemingly mundane.
Right.
Sometimes it's a certain feeling of peace, or, a chance encounter with someone who offers just the right words of wisdom.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's about training our minds
Yeah.
to recognize and acknowledge those synchronicities
Yes.
as evidence of a loving and supportive universe.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, we were talking about AURA 911 earlier.
Yes.
And one of the things I love about that website is that they have some really great articles on raising your vibration.
Oh, cool.
And they offer some really practical techniques for doing that.
Okay.
Things like practicing gratitude, meditating,
Yeah.
spending time in nature, eating high vibrational foods.
Right.
All these things can really help.
Yeah. And it's not just like woo-woo feel-good activities, right? These are actually rooted in a deeper understanding that our thoughts, our emotions, even our physical bodies are all vibrating at a certain frequency.
Yes.
And when we engage in activities that raise that vibration, we are literally shifting our energy
Yes.
to a more positive state.
It's almost like, tuning to a different radio station.
Totally.
Bro.
It's like tuning into a frequency of joy and love.
Exactly. And as we cultivate those higher vibrations, we naturally attract experiences that resonate with that energy.
Yeah. I love that. It's not just about, feeling good, although that's definitely a bonus.
Right.
But raising our vibration can really have a profound impact on all areas of our well-being, from our physical health to our relationships.
Yes.
And even our ability to manifest our desires.
Absolutely. And, Shaman Durek emphasizes that it's important not to pray like a beggar, coming from a place of desperation or neediness.
Right.
And I have to admit, I've definitely been guilty of that in the past.
Yeah, I think we all have at some point.
But his perspective really helped me realize that I was actually limiting the flow of abundance by approaching prayer from a place of lack.
Right. It's about shifting that mindset from, how come this isn't happening? Yeah. Show me how this can happen.
Yes.
Right.
And when we approach the divine from a place of faith and trust, we open ourselves up to receiving guidance and support in ways we might never have imagined.
Absolutely.
And he also uses this term spiritual narcissism.
Yes.
Which I found really interesting.
Oh, wait. It's a good one.
Can you elaborate on what that means and how it might block us from receiving those demonstrations?
Yeah, spiritual narcissism can be a little bit tricky to spot because it often masquerades as spiritual growth. It's that subtle tendency to believe that we are solely responsible for our successes and neglecting the role of divine support.
Right.
It's kind of like, taking all the credit for a group project and ignoring the contributions of your teammates.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to build this wall around ourselves, convinced that we can do it all alone.
Right.
But when we acknowledge that we're co-creating with spirit, that we're part of something much bigger than ourselves, that's when the magic really starts to happen.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful dance between our human efforts and divine grace. We do our part. And we trust that the universe is going to meet us halfway.
Yes. And speaking of doing our part, Shaman Durek also talks about the importance of staying high vibes, even when those around us are caught up in negativity and drama.
Right, because it's so easy to get sucked into those lower vibrations.
Oh, it's so easy.
But he really encourages us to become beacons of light, holding that space of love and compassion even when it's challenging.
It's about recognizing that we have a choice.
Yes.
In how we respond to those energies.
Absolutely.
We can either get caught in the crossfire, or we can choose to rise above it.
Right. He uses this powerful analogy of, throwing a life jacket to someone who's drowning.
Right.
You offer support.
Yes.
But you don't jump in the water and drown with them.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about setting those healthy boundaries and recognizing that we can't force someone to change. We can offer support.
Right.
But ultimately, it's up to them to grab onto that life jacket.
Yeah, sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone is to create that space for them to heal without getting entangled in their drama.
Right.
It's not about abandoning them. It's about holding that steady beacon of light that they can see when they're ready to come ashore.
I love that. And that reminds me of another point that he makes about the difference between humility and weakness.
Okay.
True humility isn't about putting ourselves down.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we are all connected and that everyone is on their own unique journey.
It's about approaching life with a beginner's mind, always open to learning and growing.
Yeah.
And recognizing our own strengths and sharing them with the world without arrogance or ego.
Yes. And he also has some really interesting things to say about guilt. He believes that guilt is self-punishment. For being truthful.
Wow.
I know, I've definitely experienced that.
Yeah.
When I finally, speak my truth or set a boundary that honors my needs, I sometimes get hit with this wave of guilt.
Right. It's almost like an automatic response, a way to keep ourselves small and playing it safe.
Right.
But, Shaman Durek really encourages us to see guilt for what it is. It's a low vibe energy that keeps us from stepping into our power.
And he's a big advocate for releasing those patterns of guilt and self-punishment, which can be so ingrained.
Right. It's about recognizing that we are worthy of love and happiness. And that includes honoring our own needs and boundaries.
Exactly. It's about releasing the need to please others and recognizing that our primary responsibility is to align with our own soul's truth.
I love that.
And I love how Shaman Durek balances all of this deep spiritual work with this emphasis on playfulness and joy. He's even been known to throw in a little voguing during his healing sessions.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Right. Who says connecting with spirit can't be fun?
I love that.
It's about remembering that we're here to experience the fullness of life, to embrace the beauty and wonder of it all, and to express ourselves authentically.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot between discipline and delight, recognizing that joy is a powerful vibration
Yes.
that can elevate our spirits and attract even more blessings into our lives.
And one of the themes that runs through his work is the importance of honoring the masculine and feminine energies within ourselves. He talks about this dynamic quite often.
He does. And it's a topic that, often sparks a lot of conversation and debate. But, at its core, it's about recognizing that both masculine and feminine energies are essential for wholeness.
Yes.
Regardless of our gender.
Yeah. And there's a really powerful moment in his healing session where he guided this woman to connect with her feminine energy and reclaim her power.
Wow.
It was so beautiful to witness her transformation as she shed those layers of conditioning and embraced her true essence.
It's a potent reminder that true power lies in embracing both those masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves, not in denying or suppressing either one.
And he's very clear that the feminine needs to be honored, not overridden. In our society, we often value those masculine traits like assertiveness and logic.
Right.
But the feminine qualities like intuition and nurturing are often undervalued.
Yeah.
Or even dismissed.
Yeah, it's about creating space for both energies to flourish, recognizing that they complement and enhance each other. And when we embrace our feminine energy, we tap into this deeper sense of intuition, compassion, and connection, which enriches our lives and relationships in really profound ways.
Before we jump into the final part of our deep dive, I want to pause here and ask you a question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Shaman Durek's emphasis on recognizing our inherent worthiness? Does it resonate with you?
Yeah.
Or do you have any reservations about this concept?
Oh, it definitely resonates with me. I think it's incredibly powerful and liberating. For so many of us, it's like this radical shift in perspective.
Yeah.
To move from feeling fundamentally flawed to recognizing our inherent divinity.
It's like we've been carrying around this heavy baggage of unworthiness.
Right.
And he's showing us how to unpack it and finally let it go.
And it's not just about feeling good about ourselves. It's about recognizing our true potential as beings of light and love. And when we embrace that worthiness, we step into our power and become capable of creating extraordinary things.
And, he doesn't shy away from calling out those suggestive spirits.
Yeah.
Those voices of doubt and fear that try to dim our light. He uses some really colorful language to describe those negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
But it's a powerful reminder that we have a choice in what we listen to.
It's about recognizing that our thoughts have power. When we give energy to negative thoughts and beliefs, we actually attract more of what we don't want into our lives. But when we choose to align with the truth of our divine nature, that's when we can create a more positive and fulfilling reality.
He talks about how darkness operates.
Yeah.
How it tries to trick us into believing that we're separate from God's love.
Right.
It's such a subtle but effective tactic. It preys on our insecurities and fears, whispering those insidious lies that we're not good enough.
Right, not worthy enough.
Not worthy enough, exactly. And it can be so easy to fall into that trap.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when we're, surrounded by negativity or feeling disconnected from our spiritual source.
Yeah.
But, he reminds us that darkness has no real power. Unless we choose to give it power.
We give it power, that's right.
The only way it can win is if we believe those lies.
Right.
If we buy into that illusion of separation and deny our inherent worthiness.
Yeah.
But when we choose to remember who we truly are, we reclaim our power and break free from that cycle of negativity.
That remembrance, that's what truly raises our vibration. It's not about forcing ourselves to be positive all the time.
Right.
It's about aligning with that frequency of love
Yes.
that is always available to us.
It's about recognizing that we are not our thoughts.
Right.
We are not our emotions. We are something far greater.
Yes.
Something eternal and luminous. And when we tap into that divine spark within us, our whole being vibrates at a higher level.
And the more we align with that love, the more we attract experiences that reflect it.
Yes.
It's like this self-perpetuating cycle of positivity and abundance.
And it's contagious.
It is.
When we radiate that love, it inspires others to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
It creates this ripple effect that can uplift and transform the world around us.
It's a beautiful vision, isn't it?
It is.
A world where we all recognize our inherent worthiness and live from a place of love and compassion and joy.
And it all starts with each of us.
Yes.
It starts with choosing to believe in ourselves,
Mm.
to embrace our power, and to shine our light brightly for all the world to see.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole community of like-minded souls out there ready to support you on your journey.
He calls them lit leaders of legacy.
Yes.
And they're committed to spreading that love and light and healing throughout the world.
If you're looking for a way to connect with that community and activate your own spiritual power, check out his Lit Vibe meditation app.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic resource
It is.
for those seeking to deepen their spiritual practice and connect with that supportive community.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive for today.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of ground,
We did.
but I hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as I did.
It was a real pleasure exploring these concepts with you.
As we close, I want to leave you with one final thought from Shaman Durek.
Okay.
Go out there in the world and do wondrous things.
Mm.
Show them how amazing you are.
Let's all make some magic.
Yeah.